Good evening, everyone. I don't know who's joining me, but I'm on here for the first time recording a video. Well, I guess I'm not recording, I'm live. Well, anywho, as you can see in my title, I'm going to be talking about growing up a Jehovah's Witness, which is, in my opinion, a cult. Um, my name is Lynita Sterling, and I grew up in the religion known as Jehovah's Witnesses. And so I'm just going to maybe pop on a few times out of a week and just kind of tell my story and let you guys know where and how we got started in the religion as a family. I actually wrote a book back in 2012, and was it 2012? Yeah, it was published in 2012, but I actually wrote it in 2010 and finished it in 2011 and started the publication of it. And this is my book actually is called, I don't know if you could see that, Free from the Bondage of the Watchtower, an Ex-Witness Perspective. And so I wrote that book. You could find it on Amazon. You could find it on Barnes and Noble and many other websites or even bookstores for your reading enjoyment. But I am going to talk a little bit about it. I'm not going to be on here long. I decided to do this. It's actually been a long time coming that I was supposed to be putting this video together. And sometimes you get nervous or you just kind of like don't want to say things to hurt people's feelings because we know in the world that so many people, or in this world, that so many people have different views on different religions. And so my view on this religion is that growing up in it, I thought it was the right thing to do because, of course, I was only 4 years old when my mother was became a baptized witness. And just let me talk about how we started. So my mother, she was married. Well, no, yes, that's at the time when she became a witness, she was married. But when she had me, she was not married. But her and my dad, they finally got married when I was, how old was I? I think I was 1 years old when her and my dad got married. And so, anywho, I guess I shouldn't say anywho, but anyhow, we there was a family member in our family, one of my mother's aunts that she really looked up to, and she's the one who kind of got the family started in this religion. And so my mother looked up to her, and she kind of talked to her about the religion and this, that, and the other. And I guess my mother was sold on it because at the time she was having, problems with my father. My father was in and out of the house because he was did the Army Reserves. He was a Marine, but he did reserves service, so he was gone a lot. And she felt like a single mom, though she was married. And so I think that she was lonely. And so when the opportunity presented itself for her to get to learn about a religion, which at that time, my mother, she became a baptized witness in 1973. And during that time, the witnesses were going around telling people that the end of the world was going to happen in 1975. So because of that, it put a rush on her to go ahead and, you need to go and be baptized as one of the Jehovah's Witnesses, because she probably studied first, but they wanted her to be baptized in order to be accepted in the fold and for her children to be safe. And at that time, there were four of us. And so she wanted her children to be safe. And so she decided, without my father's blessing, to become a witness. I need to get some people on here to follow me, but I guess I'll have to just kind of get it out there, get the video out there once I'm done. And what she did was so we were basically raised in it. She got baptized in 73. And then I guess when 75 came around, didn't look like the end of the world came. Nothing happened. And though this was said, she still stayed in the religion. I don't know why she stayed in it, but because they told you different things, as sometimes this can happen or that can happen, or we didn't hear right, or God said not right now. The Bible actually says in Deuteronomy that if a person or group calls themselves a prophet and they're speaking for God, then consider them a false prophet and do not believe their lies. And so, because the witnesses put themselves in a position that they were speaking for God, this is what they say, they were speaking for God. So they're telling us that something is going to happen, the end of the world is coming. So now, because we're speaking for God, then hey, it's going to happen. But it didn't happen. So the Bible says if somebody does that, speaks a lie, or gives a prophetic word and says it's going to come to pass and it doesn't, then you're not to believe that person, that they're a false prophet. And so that's what they were. They started it off as a false prophet. But when you don't know the background or the history of a religion, you will fall for anything. And so, because this was all we knew, we didn't know anything about going to church. We grew up in this religion. We didn't celebrate holidays. We didn't celebrate our birthday. We didn't celebrate anything. I mean, it was, like I said, we thought that was the right thing to do as growing up in it, me and my brothers and sisters. And so, at the time when we got a little older, we became teenagers. Things just still was like, this is what we got to do. I mean, me myself, I really believed in it, and I was in it. I was in it for whatever. I was in it because I really believed in it, and I studied. When I decided that I wanted to become baptized, I was 15, and I started studying with one of the older sisters that I looked up to as a big sister. I went to her house, or she came to my house, or whatever, however that worked. And I studied with her for about 6 months. And then after the 6 months, you make a decision to say, hey, they ask you, well, do you think you're ready now to become a baptized witness? And so, by this time I'm 16 and I'm in high school. I'm a sophomore in high school. And I'm like, you know what? I don't see no reason why I should become a witness, baptized, because all of these people, they're going to die at Armageddon anyway. So why not? I'm going to go ahead and become a witness. And so that's what I did at the age of 16. I became a baptized witness. So this is the thing. When you become a baptized witness, hold on one second. Excuse me. When you become baptized into the Jehovah's Witness organization, it means that you are dedicating your whole life to the religion. You're not dedicating your life to your own life. You're not dedicating your life to going to school, to going to college. Well, I did go to high school and grammar school, but not college. We couldn't go inside of a church. We couldn't do none of those things. My 8th grade graduation was in a church, and I didn't even go to my 8th grade graduation. And so it's just a lot of different things that you can't do, and you make a decision that I'm going to follow God. And so when you say you're going to follow God, that means you're not going to do nothing. You're going to follow all the rules and the regulations of the organization. Say, for instance, they say, well, we're not supposed to date anybody. You can't go on dates. The only way you could date somebody is if you have a chaperone. Well, at the time while I was baptized, there were other baptized young people that I used to hang around with, thinking that I'm with good association, because they say bad association spoils useful habits. In Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 15:33, that was one of their favorite scriptures. And I don't know if that's something in my head. Anyway, so because of that, you're thinking, hey, I'm going to associate with the people that's in the organization with me. But really, in actuality, the people that were in the organization was doing the same stuff they were doing in the world. We call them worldly people. they were doing the same thing that the people in the world were doing. They were dating. They were, sneaking off, going to parties, kissing each other. Even someone was having sex, and I'm like, whoa, y'all doing all that, And I'm like thinking to myself, why is they doing this? I'm like, this is just don't sound right. I don't understand what's going on, you know. And so, anywho, so I said, this is just, it just doesn't make any sense at all. And so I'm looking like, well, why are they doing this? If I'm supposed to be following the true God or true religion, why are these young people doing this? Then some of them were jealous hearted, wanted to fight, and things like that. And I'm like, this just, how can this be the true organization? But at that time, again, I wasn't thinking that. I was just thinking, in the back of my mind, why are they doing this? And they supposed to be so holier than thou. And these are people that's in my age group that I'm talking about. Okay. So in the midst of all this time, I was never in a relationship. I did like boys, but I was never in any type of relationship with anyone. And so, kind of to make a long story short, I don't want to really go into a lot of detail, because if you want, you could just, read my book, and I kind of go into more detail in my book about, how things were, with the other people at the Kingdom Hall. We call it the Kingdom Hall. But I just want to give you kind of like a background on what, about me growing up in the religion and how it started. And how, I had a brother. My brother's 1 year older than me. Then it's me. Then I had two sisters, and the four of us, we grew up going to the hall, and we always rolled with one of the brothers at the church at the hall, who was an older brother, elderly brother, and he always came to pick us up because we didn't have a car, we didn't have no way to get there, but they faithfully picked us up, took us to the hall to every meeting that they had. We always had a ride. Somebody was always willing to help us because we were so needy. And you know, father wasn't around, so hey, we can help them so they could be in a new system. They can be in paradise, and they won't be destroyed. So we're going to help this family so that they can get to where they need to go, in the hall. And so that's kind of like how it started. Then from that point, my grandmother, she became a witness at the age of, at the age, in the year of 1974, because either my mother, excuse me, my mother introduced her or my uncle introduced her, because he was in the Army or the Navy. I'm not sure which one it was. Excuse me, I probably need some water. He was in the Navy, and he told my grandmother about it, and so this is my uncle, and then she became interested in it as well, and so that there goes my the older people in the family that became involved. My great grandmother, she became involved, and it came from like almost like was on both sides of the family. Well, not really both sides, because my father was not a witness. He grew up in the church, but he was kind of upset at the church, so he didn't really have a lot of say, excuse me, on my mother making a decision to become a Jehovah's Witness. He just, because he was doing his thing. The saying, Papa was a Rolling Stone. He was doing his thing, so he didn't really care that she put all into this religion until it got kind of affected everybody, and it got to a point where she was turning against him and not really, following his lead as the head of the house, and things of that nature. But I'm not going to be on here too long. I just want to kind of do a quick overview of, how I started, and, I'm going to more detail about the religion in itself. And so just so you know that I was part of this religion for I was what they call disfellowshipped in 1989, I want to say. I believe it was 1989. It was in 89. And from that point on, and I was 19. I got baptized at 17 and lasted 2 years. And so, so at the time that I was disfellowshipped, I still kind of had a close relationship with my mother and my family. But then as the years went by, they started, introducing new rules and regulations, which said now you can't talk to that person, or now you can't be in the same room with that person, or whatever. Anybody that doesn't, that's not a witness anymore. But I'm going to have more information about this soon. I'm just going to, like I said, I'm not going to be on here too much longer. I'm going to get, maybe one more minute. And I just wanted to kind of bring an overview of, what I was raised in. I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. And I know some people are probably saying, Jehovah's Witness, they're a cult? Huh? I don't know. I got a lot of family members that's involved in the Jehovah's Witnesses, so they can't be a cult. Yes, they are. They are. Sometimes we sit up and we think that just because they're out door to door, oh, they're so nice and they're friendly and they got their stuff together and they really know their Bible. Yeah, they know their Bible. Yeah. They're all on one accord. They teach the same thing. The same rules, the same what you can't do, what you're not supposed to do. Now I know with Christianity, we go by what the words say. They're going by rules that were made up by a group of men. Okay, so wherever you go, even if you go out of the country, they all still have the same type of talk. They act the same way. They think the same way. They don't have no mind of their own to think outside of what they were taught in this religion. And so I think I'm going to stop right there. And hopefully I can get some people to start listening to my story. And again, I wrote my first book back in 2012, and it's called Free from the Bondage of the Watchtower, an Ex-Witness Perspective, under my name, Lynita Sterling. And you could find it on Amazon. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and hang up on here and end this broadcast. And I'm hoping that you guys will find it very interesting. Again, I'm going to get more in depth with it as the days go by, and I'm going to keep on getting on here so that people can hear my story. All righty. Thank you. You guys be blessed.